Alright, what's up y'all, LakerFan here. As you can see by the title of today's video, here to rank all the playmaking badges in NBA 2K23 in tiers for Season 2. So I hope y'all enjoy. If you do, for to drop a like, sub if you're new to noties, all that good stuff, and like always, try to win 2,000 likes. So, for those who are new to the series, new to the channel, we'll make this quick. The text color is going to indicate the Season 1 ranking. So, I had special delivery in the blue, ranked for D, anything in green for C, yellow for B, and so on and so forth. But, as you can see, we have one at the bottom with mismatch expert. I had a tab that was don't know, and I had this at the very bottom as far as just because I couldn't give my expertise on this. Now, I gotta say, before we get started with this is changing a lot. I need to be locked up for my opinions on this stuff, because it's crazy. But like I said, this is only 8 days through the game that I gave these opinions. I will tell you guys up front, first and foremost, the one that is probably rising the most is going to be bailout or unpluckable. I'm a believer in unpluckable now. I truly do think this does help quite a bit, even at the gold level or anything like that. I can't really speak for silver, but gold and Hall of Fame absolutely can speak for now. Bailout, way better than I give it credit for. The one that is dropping by far the most is going to be post playmaker, easily. I can't believe I gave this badge so much credit, it being in an A tier. It's going to be going down by quite a bit in today's video. But anyway, less spoilers, we'll get straight into it. I hope you all enjoy, and like I said, feel free to drop a like if you do. Alright, so to start us off, the two technical lowest badges of last tier list, obviously one being an unranked from last one, but we have mismatch expert and special delivery both moving into the E tier, one dropping from D and one initially being placed in the E. This is actually the worst I've rated any badge in this year's game. Generally, I'm making everything a D tier or above because there's a lot of reason to run certain badges. But unfortunately, mismatch expert and special delivery are just both pretty bad. Now, special delivery maybe could make the case for if you're a very lob-heavy throwing team or something like that, or maybe you're just someone who absolutely utilizes this. You do flashy passes, boost your teammates' shooting ability. You're just a beast with it, but it's very unfortunate that that's the case. And just in general, it's not the greatest badge as far as its power. But then to talk about mismatch expert, I wish this badge was good. It would give small guards a special thing about them. I've talked about this in the past. I really do think if mismatch was good, like I said, it would really separate them from the other builds. Now, the problem with this is I don't know how you make this even utilizable or like make it work. Maybe it just makes the defenders guard you like slower. I don't know. Maybe off a switch, they just like move slower. They get stunned more. I'm not exactly sure what you would do to utilize this, but all I can tell you is any small guard out there, they're generally not even running mismatch expert. It's generally going to be something like, you can look through here, unpluckable, maybe some killer combos, debatable, but this one is probably better than mismatch expert. I think some people would agree. They still run hyperdrive, clamp breaker. You got things like obviously handles for days and quick first step. They're not running mismatch expert, even though they're 6'1". It's pretty crazy, and if that tells you anything about the badge's utilization, I think that definitely speaks for it. Next up on the list, we have needle threader and break starter, both staying in the C tier. We won't talk about these too much because I've already given my impressions on what they do. Break starter is very self-explanatory. I will say I have seen a lot of pro-am bigs come out here with a super high pass accuracy and break starter on a high level, but I do think what they like about it more is the zip that you get for having the super high pass accuracy and the absolute like crazy heaters you can throw down there. So I don't think it's so much about what break starter brings to the table. I just think they have a big with a super high pass accuracy, and it leads to just generally having that as one of your very few badges you can run. But again, break starter, pretty self-explanatory. You're just going to throw more accurate passes on fast breaks when you grab the ball and just launch it down court. And then for needle threader, this is going to be avoiding passing lane interceptions and stuff like that. Now, earlier in the year, I would say a little bit after making this initial tier list, I went through a cycle of me thinking that it was what was causing those stuns off ball. I come to realize that's not the case. I don't think that really is the case. I don't think needle threader has any correlation with it. I think it's all about the defender and their lack of perimeter defense and their lack of being in the right spot on D. Just keep it simple, because it doesn't happen very often to me with my build with like 88 perimeter defense, but like Tonic and Zeke, when they've come out here on their super tall builds and stuff like that, like Zeke has a 6'11" we've been running with a little bit lately, Tonic on a multiple 7'3s, you can really tell their lack of perimeter defense really does get stunned on those passes. And again, it's not the fixation of like needle threader, I don't even know if that's the right word, but it's not the fact that they have needle threader on the offensive end, because it doesn't happen to me either. It's literally just their lack of perimeter defense. So pretty much all I'm saying is needle threader is only good for getting passes by people's hands, for interceptions and stuff like that, and it's still a decent trait to have. I definitely recommend, like I said, C tier is probably right where it needs to be. It's pretty iffy whether you should be running it or not. It definitely depends on your playstyle. If you're a very pass heavy player, needle threader is probably going to fit right into finally being usable for your badge set, but it's probably going to be one of the last things you put on. Next up, we have unpluckable. This can be moving from the C tier to the A tier. I am a huge fan of this badge. I've used it personally myself now on my 6'9". I have it on gold. Generally, I would say a lot of the people in this game do have it on gold, and some have it on Hall of Fame. You have to be a pretty small guard to be able to have that 95 ball handle to unlock it on the Hall of Fame level, and it definitely is good. I gotta say, when I play small guards who have that Hall of Fame unpluckable, I cannot get steals with that silver glove. And when I play even people that have gold unpluckable with my silver glove, 6'9", mind you, and this is what I want to talk about too. We're gonna make a little tangent and talk about the whole pluck stealing situation, because generally the main player base, I would say, is probably around 6'8" to 6'9", and some people would agree with that. I've seen tweets ranting about all anybody is in this game is 6'8" or 6'9". Well, if that were really true, that would mean all anybody has in this game is silver or gold glove, because at 6'8" max wingspan, you can only get 95 steal rating, which gives you just enough for gold glove. Actually, it's 96, but same difference. It doesn't get any higher on the glove. And then for 6'9", even at max wingspan, you get 90 steal, which still only achieves the silver glove as well. You can't get anything higher than silver if you're a 6'9". So I gotta tell you from my first-hand experience, as far as me having silver glove and gold glove on 2 different builds, I don't get pluck steals on people that have unpluckable and clearly have good ball handle. It's literally as simple as that. Now, maybe I'm just bad. I disagree, though, because I be plucking the mess out of people that don't have unpluckable, and you can feel the difference. Absolutely, you can feel the difference. If you go for a couple of steals throughout the course of a game, and I'm just not getting them in situations that I normally would, I can tell clearly they have unpluckable, and it's no longer worth me going for steals because I'm getting out of position, I'm burning adrenaline as well, and it hurts my chase down block ability, or just in general, like getting, like, obviously blocks, just in general, right? And again, it's putting me out of position for going for those steals, and it's just not gonna work, or I lose takeover for reach-in fouls as well. So all I can say is, from my experience of having silver and gold glove, is that it doesn't work against people that have unpluckable at a good level, aka gold or Hall of Fame. But for the Hall of Fame gloves, I gotta say, you fight through that stuff like crazy. Hall of Fame glove will destroy gold unpluckable, and it really still will get steals on Hall of Fame unpluckable sometimes too. Not often, I will say. I think people that have Hall of Fame unpluckable definitely have a big opinion shift as far as how they see pluck steals in this game. My boy AK, who early in the game was on a build that had only gold unpluckable, was literally the CEO of ranting about it on Twitter. He was complaining about how it takes no skill when people come out here and do that stuff. Obviously, he only had gold unpluckable to people's Hall of Fame glove because he was in the stage really often against the sweaty 6'7", 99 steal, 97 prim D dudes and stuff like that, right? And once he got on a build that actually had Hall of Fame unpluckable, mind you, even after only being on the gold one for a little bit after adapting to the game, he started to learn how to stop getting like the ball stolen from him and stuff too. You don't see people ranting about it a whole lot anymore either, and for normal reason. I don't think the game got patched or anything like that super crazy. I think people just learned how to not get the ball stolen from them a little bit more, and maybe in all their recreations of the builds, put a little bit more ball handle on it, higher unpluckable, whatever the case may be. Now maybe you're entitled to your own opinion, to thinking that maybe they changed steals like under the hood, so to say. Maybe they did, I don't know. But either way, all I know is now I think unpluckable is very valid to run 100%. So this is gonna be the A tier now. Next up, I got killer combos moving up from C to B tier. This actually does stun people pretty well, I must say. I don't know about the whole chaining for dribble moves, making them faster on your combos. I'm not a big believer in that, or at least not in a significant aspect, but getting stuns on people absolutely is true. You can definitely tell when someone has this on from a defender perspective, and it really is good. Now, there's not much more to say about this other than the fact that it does stuns. I would say it's kind of on some tight handle stuff from last year. Not so extreme, not so crazy. It's not so noticeable for the stuns and stuff like that from the perimeter defensive aspect, but it does still give you those sometimes, and they are pretty valuable when you can get them too, I gotta say. But like I said, for killer combos, I don't believe in the whole speeding up your chains and stuff like that too much. I don't think that's really something a lot of people see in this, and it's kind of one that dribblers are a little bit iffy on running. You can maybe make the case this is still a C tier. I personally would still think this is B compared to the things that are going to end up in C personally, but maybe I'm just biased towards point guards and maybe not so biased towards passing builds. Me, myself, I'm a very big passer though, so you can't really make that case that I'm biased toward my playstyle. I'm just saying I understand the value of a point guard and the value of someone that can destroy you with these combos and stuff like that in the stuns. But again, nonetheless, I do think this is still a pretty solid badge. Next up, for our second A tier that's also moving from the C tier, we have Bailout that is joining Unpluckable in the A tier. This is a badge that, if we're being completely honest, I think needs to be taken out of the game. I'm not gonna lie to you, like, maybe not for this year. It'd be wrong to do that to people who made builds with high pass accuracy, but this gotta be taken out of the game next year. It's so brain dead. I'm using it myself too. Like, when I now added that Zach LaVine layup package to my, like, style, so to say, or my package, if you will, I am spamming bailout passes because you can't just stop. You can't do the same thing like you would with a hop step and a spin lay and stuff like that, where you come to a full stop then pass to somebody. If I go up for a Euro, I have to bail out if I'm passing out of it, and I'm using it like crazy. And with gold bailout, it's going unreal crazy. And I still think even bronze is super, like, insane too. Now, the reason I had this lower in the years because I thought people were making really good passes on the bailout attempts even with no badge, but realistically, people are just running it. I don't know. Maybe I just thought because of the fact that so many people were getting accurate passes out of the bailouts that I just assumed not all of them could possibly be running bailout. But the truth is, a lot of people do because it makes sense to do. It's one of the best bronze badges you could put on in the game, maybe even silver and gold. It's unreal. I haven't even seen it at Hall of Fame. I don't really know what you have to put it on Hall of Fame. It's probably extremely high considering you need to have, I believe, 85 to get gold bailout. I'm not exactly sure, but either way, really good badge, and I'm gonna call it how it is. I'm not just gonna say because it's a brain dead badge and it really should be taken out of the game that it's not a good badge. Obviously, I mean, it's one of the most like spammable, overpowered, broken, just stupid badges in the game, so it belongs here in the A tier because it's good. But anyway, moving along to our last C tier badge that is now being replaced somewhere, we have Vice Grip going down to the D tier from the C. Now, I want to explain to you guys why, alright? Some of you may be a fan of Vice Grip just because you're a tall big man who is one of the only few playmaking badges you can put on because you maybe only have pass accuracy and you have no ball hidden. I want to tell you right now, I think you're a little biased toward that, personally, because not only for the reason of the fact that in Pro-Am, and actually this is the biggest reason too, in Pro-Am and Rec, if you grab a rebound and people are spamming you for a steal, the new transition take foul literally just puts your team at the line. Nobody does that stuff anymore, and even if they do, they generally just get a foul even if you don't have Vice Grip is what I meant to say. So, long story short, I just don't think this badge is worth running very much. Now, you can make the case that maybe it helps you get better catches in just the general area of the court and stuff like that. I don't think you need this personally. I just think this is a very overblown, overhyped badge because it's brand new and stuff like that, and people wanted to think it was gonna be something good. I don't think so at all. I haven't seen very many steals on catches at all, or those stupid fluke steals that you saw earlier in the year, like in 2K22, I meant to say, where people would grab it on the inbound, turn around, and a dude would swipe the mess out of that ball and just get a bump steal, essentially. And it was something I thought Vice Grip would be good for, but realistically, like I said, on Pro-Am, this is the real killer of this badge, is the fact that that transition take foul is in Pro-Am, and nobody should ever go for a reach-in on a big man off a rebound. It gives your team a free point and sets up in the half court. It's a horrible thing to do, and it really deters from people ever even attempting those steals on you off a rebound. So that's why I have Vice Grip down in the D tier. I don't think it's necessary, and I think you're wasting badge points on it, personally. Last thing on Vice Grip though, I will say it's good at doing what it's supposed to do. It's good at stopping people from getting those steals. It's just, like I said, there's not really a whole lot of point in having that. Maybe for 3v3, potentially for 3v3. 2v2, not the case at all, if you ask me. I think really 3 is like the only spot you could maybe viably run this badge, but for Pro-Am, I'm not a huge fan of it. I really don't think you should waste your badge points on it. I would much rather my big man be running something like Floor General or something like that, or maybe even some Dimer Post Playmaker if you can afford it. I know there's like, I think those are tier 3s for centers, like super tall ones and stuff like that, but whatever you can run that's not Vice Grip, in my opinion, I think it could definitely benefit you. But like I said, understand there are some tall bigs out there. That's pretty much all you can run, so you kind of just forced to run this, and maybe you're forced to believe the fact that it's actually good for you and it's helping you. But I just personally think in Pro-Am that it's not really worth, because you're just gonna get those transition take fouls. But anyway, stop like talking about Vice Grip. I'm sure you guys are spamming in the comments right now. We're gonna move along to hyperdrive. This badge staying in the B tier. I think it's generally just something good for slashers, people who move downhill. It's also still decent for guards to like kind of add to your package too, because anything you do can be downhill if you let it be. Now, obviously, the sideways lateral movement is very, very nice for the people who use pick and rolls and fades and stuff like that. But even with that, hyperdrive still activates occasionally for those. So I think hyperdrive is a really good badge to have on if you're just a dribbler in general, and especially if you're a slasher. If you're a slasher, this is probably an A tier badge right here, because again, everything you're doing is going to be downhill, and especially with those like coming up the court situations and stuff like that too. It's really convenient to have. And next up, we have Clampbreaker moving from the B tier to the S tier. This is tied for the biggest gainer on the list with Unpluckable and Bailout, as they both move from C to A, and Clampbreaker is moving from B to S. So I underestimated this badge. I underestimated how good it would be. I thought it was only going to be a slasher type thing. I thought it was only going to be a rim runner type thing, or people who are just 3 hunting and then they take their just free drive off of it essentially. But this also even still works for guards as far as just getting like shrugging people off you, being unbumpable and stuff like that too. I think Clampbreaker is kind of broken if we're being honest. Now, it's okay. I do understand the need for this badge or just how good it really can be, but with how underpowered Clamps feels in this game, I really do think Clampbreaker is part of the reason for messing up that sort of like interaction with that. So I'm not a huge fan of the fact that Clampbreaker is really good. I would prefer for my slashing style stuff too, to really force myself to truly always dribble my way open instead of kind of shrugging people off me sometimes and just absolutely pushing them out the way. But nonetheless, it is what it is. This is how the game is, and I'm not going to hate on it either. It is what it is. Just kind of adapt and learn. So Clampbreaker, for all of that being listed off the fact that it's good for the people who 3-hunt and then just take their drive off of it, good for slashers, good for anybody really that just like plays against a defender for that matter and dribbles the ball. Clampbreaker is extremely good. So that's about as much as I can give you guys as far as the description on it, and I definitely underestimated it too. I can't believe I even had this in the B tier, to be honest. This is maybe one that I was debating putting in the A tier as well, by the way. So I don't think it's on the same tier as the other two badges that are going to be here in the S tier. So it's definitely the one below them. Like, this is a fringe badge between S and A, but I just decided to put in the S because I think it's a little bit better than Unpluckable, Bailout, and the other badge. All right, our last C tier badge of the video is going to be Ankle Breaker, moving down from the B to the C. I think this is still a pretty solid badge at snapping people and stuff like that. It's just you have to be so specific with your dribble style. You have to do so many snatchbacks, so many like just things that snap the ball really quickly and just kind of like force the defender in a certain different way and just really sudden stop movements. It's not something that a lot of people do in this game, if you ask me. And just because of that, I'm knocking it down a slight bit. I still think it's good at doing what it's supposed to do of breaking people, but not many people really run it. I'm not exactly sure why. I think it's free buckets too if you can get people stunned, but I should answer the question of the I'm not sure why. The reason for it is because, like I said, you have to be very specific with your dribble moves to even like get stuff like this to work. Now, what I will give Ankle Breaker props for is generally it's a tier 1 badge. So it's very cheap, it's very affordable to run this at a Hall of Fame level. It's also very easy to get at a Hall of Fame level too, as far as the like attribute requirements and stuff like that to get it on Hall of Fame, but it's still a little bit underpowered as far as like really being spammable just because of the style you have to do with the dribbling, and again, not many people really run it. So just in general, I have this in the C tier. It could be maybe fringe B, but I think C is definitely the right spot to put it. Next up, we have Floor General staying in the B tier. Won't talk too much about this badge either. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you run it, your teammates will be gaining attribute points for every badge level that you have. So if you have it on bronze, all your teammates besides you get +1. And then if you have it silver, +2, gold, +3, Hall of Fame +4. You cannot stack this in case you don't know already. So you can't just have 4 people run Floor General on your team and get a +16 boost for Hall of Fame. It doesn't work like that. Only one person at a time can boost everybody, but if you want to get the maximum ability of this, you could have 2 people run it just so that you can get the boost as well if you're one of the people running it, if you understand what I'm saying there. So like, if you're the only one on your team running it, everybody besides you is getting the boost. If someone else additionally runs it, you will also get the boost, but that's the only reason they'd even be running it. So overall, it's a good thing to have, especially as a big man, if you ask me. If you're someone that doesn't really shoot the ball very often, it's obviously nice for your teammates to be able to get those +3 boosts if you have like a gold level on it, to be able to upgrade their 3-point rating, their ball handle if you have a point guard that maybe has like 95, 94-ish ball handle, or just in general a 6'9" or something like that, a wing player that has maybe like 87, 89-ish. So I definitely think Floor General is a really good badge to run. It's the glue badge to every Pro-Am team. In Pro-Am, this is an S tier badge. Obviously, like I said, if you're benefiting so many more people, it makes so much more sense to run this. On 2v2, obviously, like, okay, let's go through the tier list on this, right? For 1v1, Floor General is literally an F tier. You should never run it. For 2v2, it's probably more like a C or a D tier. To boost your teammates' ratings, like just one teammate is not exactly worth it. For 3v3, it's probably a C or B, because obviously only boosting 2 people, but that could go a long way even still. And then for Pro-Am, S tier, absolutely. So I don't know, man, just meet in the middle. That's pretty much what I'm saying. Obviously, you guys know the power of this badge on Pro-Am, 5v5, whatever the case may be. So it makes sense to just kind of put it right here, just in the middle of everything. That's how I feel about it. So moving along, the next badge that we have got Post Playmaker moving down from A tier all the way down to D. Probably the most like drop of a badge I've ever had in any game. Now, let me explain the reasoning for this. So I ranked Dimer and Post Playmaker extremely even. I had them both in the A tier, and I had them both there because they were really good for passing badges. I was thinking, oh, I have them both on my Ben Simmons build, and I have them both on Hall of Fame or Gold, so I'm sure they're just good. But the truth is that Post Playmaker activates way less than Dimer does. So obviously with Dimer, you can be at the top of the key, you can be anywhere around like the half court line. I don't think Dimer works when you're behind half court and throwing like all the way down to the corner or something like that. But nonetheless, anywhere in the half court setting, Dimer activates. That's at least what I've seen personally. Even off my offensive rebounds and stuff like that, Dimer still activates when they make the shot. Now, with post playmaker, it's only off of offensive rebounds or only when you're holding LT. So I don't see any purpose in running post playmaker when you could just run dimer instead. And they don't stack on top of each other either, so you can't run post play and dimer and get them both to pop up at the same time. So my personal opinion is that post playmaker is pretty useless as far as like when you compare it to dimer, because why wouldn't you just run dimer? Now, the case to be made for this maybe, and it's hard for me to test stuff like this because I can't just like be like, oh, well, I passed to Zeke this one time when I had post playmaker and he'd be greening it like super often, and then when I don't run playmaker, post playmaker, he just doesn't green very often. That's hard for me to judge because obviously it's hard to judge your teammate's shooting performance when it really could just be their timing. Simple as that. So realistically, it's hard to tell if post playmaker gives you more of a teammate making the shot boost than dimer does when it's in that situation. But all I can really say is the activation rate of them. And post playmaker activates way less than dimer does. As far as the coring process of it, dimer goes way faster than post playmaker 2 from my playstyle. So all I can leave you with is that I think post playmaker is pretty bad. And I know a lot of the bigs are gonna be hating on this, gonna be like, oh, you put post play, you put vice grip in the D tier. These are the badges that I obviously run because, you know, if you make a build that's 7'3" with only pass accuracy, these are the type of things you're left with running. But my true opinion on it is just not good in comparison to dimer. So let's talk about our next badge with dimer. I have it in the B tier. Honestly, it's knocking down from the A to the B just off the fact that I think unpluckable, bailout are much better than dimer. However, I think dimer is still right in contention with all three of the other badges right here. B tier is really solid as far as like being B tier. Hyperdrive really good, dimer really good, floor general still really good. Killer combos pretty iffy. This is probably like the worst B tier that we have right here. These three of hyperdrive, floor, and dimer really good. But they're just not on the level of unpluckable and bailout if you ask me. And you know, to give away the rest of the video, I mean, this is pretty much how it fills in right here. And honestly, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about dimer individually because we already just talked about this in the comparison with post playmaker and really talked about a lot of the situations that dimer is good for. I will say I am a huge fan of being the person that runs this badge because it's really cool that you can help your teammates just make shots in general. I really do like being that guy on the team who can help uplift your teammates, even if obviously it boosts their ego a little bit and it's, you know, coming straight out of my badge points. But I do enjoy being that. I do like to help the teammates make shots, and obviously as far as getting your own takeover meter as well, it does help when people can make off your assist because you're going to be getting takeover off that as well. So it definitely makes sense to run, especially if it's tier 1 for you. I'm a huge fan of it on my 6'9" because it is a tier 1 for me, and that's pretty much as simple as that. It's really good badge points if you ask me, but it's not like I said, the level of unpluckable and bailout. So moving along to the S tiers that remain, we've got handles for days, quick first step. These are pretty self-explanatory as far as the power goes. Quick first step being the ultimate point guard badge, ultimate just point forward, person dribbling the ball badge, where it's just gonna give you really good speed boost paired with good acceleration. It makes a lot of sense to be S tier. It's literally simple as that. So not a whole lot of reason to talk about this as far as being S tier, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory. And handles for days, pretty self-explanatory too. I mean, it just helps you not drain stamina as much when you have the ball in your hand and you're dribbling. So honestly, I will say though, I think quick first step is significantly better than handles for days. I dribble a lot on my slasher, which obviously I'm not doing a whole lot of burning adrenaline, moving side to side, or doing a lot of combos. I generally just do a lot of simple dribble moves to get me to the basket and just read the defender, but I don't need handles for days the way I play. But I do understand the value of it for a whole lot of other people in this game, because generally for most of you guys, it's probably a lot of gotta look to the three-pointer, and when the three-pointer is defended, then I can go ahead and go to the hoop a little bit more. For me, I really just try and find my path to the paint, simple as that. But like I said, don't want to be biased in that sense. I do understand the value of it for a lot of people in this game. But obviously, like anything when it comes to tier lists, it's hard to put everything into everybody's perspective, because if you're like a 6'11" big man, maybe bronze quick first step is way more worth running than handles for days, because obviously you don't care about chaining up on your dribble moves very much. All you want to be able to do is just move quickly out of that first step. So obviously, I don't make these videos with like me talking about, oh, well, for 7'3s, it's like this. For 6'10s, it's like this. For 6'5s, it's like this. For 6'1s, it's like this. I'm not making all types of different loadouts and stuff like that and explanations and examples. It's me just talking about the power of the badge and how good it really is, but then also talking about the player base and how often they even do things. Like, for instance, again, ankle breaker. Or a really good example is the fact that mismatch expert, not many people run it at all. Not many people run small guards, and even the small guards that do, they just don't run it because it's also not a good badge. So really simple as that. I hope they do buff this a little bit, to be honest. It would be a really good idea. But anyway, that's all video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, for to drop a like, sub if you're new, tell them noties, all good stuff. Like always, try to 1 to 2,000 likes. If you made it to the end of the video, put play or put pass in the comments to support me all the way through. And like always, feel free to leave your comments, feel free to leave your feedback, let me know what you think. I tell you what though, I'm gonna make like a 1-minute rant real quick. If you did watch the video though, I appreciate you. If you could drop a like, I would appreciate that as well. Like I said, feel free to leave a comment if you made it to the end of the vid. But real quick, a slight rant talking about the comments that I've received on these tier list videos. All right, so I just ranted a lot and got very disrespectful. So I want to come back to this and make sure that I articulate my words in the right way and stuff like that. So let me just kind of backtrack a little bit. If you differ from my opinion, I am totally okay with that. But when you make it personal and want to attack me as a person for how I literally put together freaking words on a tier list, you're really overstepping a line here. And I have all the right in the world to remove you from the YouTube channel. That dude who is over here talking about my hustler in the C tier and talking about attacking me personally for like opinions on a freaking tier list, that dude's removed from the YouTube channel. He ain't being seen by any of you guys. He's commenting straight into the void. He can type away on his keyboard, mad aggressive, all the time moving forward, but nobody's seeing that thing except him. And I laugh at the fact that that's the case. And you can call it censorship, you can call it whatever you want. This is my YouTube channel. If you want to come at me personally and attack me for the way that I put words together on a tier list, then go ahead and do so, but you're not going to be seen by me, I'll tell you that much. So I just wanted to keep you guys alert to that and just let you know. And I'm not going to be quick to do that to people. I just want to let you know that too. I'm very rarely doing that by any means, but when it's something that I don't want to read, or if you're a common commenter or something like that too that's being mad disrespectful, I don't got to see that stuff, because I read this stuff and I try and read the supporters' comments and try and read it to give advice and stuff like that. But I don't feel like reading comments every so often. And Joe told me this a couple years ago too, and kind of introduced me to the fact that like the big YouTuber life, you're gonna get all types of new people who don't really even mess with you anyway. And I'm not gonna lie, I do see it firsthand a whole lot more this year, where I just see so many new people to the channel who are mad disrespectful to me as well. And like I said, I don't have to stand for that stuff. You can get the heck out of here, and I don't have to see that stuff anymore, because I like to read the comments. And if you're like forcing me to not like to read my comments anymore, I don't have to put up with that. Simple as that. So anyway, just a quick little rant at the end of the video. I hope you guys do enjoy. I do appreciate everything that all the supporters have been doing for me all year too. You guys are changing my life this year, and even after changing my life last year. Like, this has been a really good 2 years in a row. Like I said at the beginning of the year too, I wanted this to be the back-to-back, man. I have tried so freaking hard to have a good back-to-back years on YouTube, and it's never just been the case. It's always been a good year into bad year, good year into bad year in like 2 years in a row. But now I'm finally looking like I'm on the right track, and I'm trying to stay on track too. My internet has been pretty rough as far as the last like 2 weeks, but I think we're finally getting back to a good track right here. I'm able to play the game. It's been some packet loss issue pretty much from 7 to 10 p.m. every single night, or even 6 to 10 sometimes too. And it's been really frustrating to deal with, but we're getting to the right spot. I'm trying to get everything all sorted out, and we're still fighting through making the content as well. Obviously, making videos like this does help, because I don't need to be able to play the game to be able to do them. But anyway, long drawn out outro to the video. I appreciate you guys watching. If you appreciate just kind of hearing me talk at the end of the videos and stuff like that too, I want to get back to doing more of this, because I've done so much like worrying about analytics, worrying about how many views it's gonna get. Oh, if I talk at the end of the video, it's gonna make the video longer, and people will see that. They'll be like, oh, I'm not clicking on a 30-minute long video. At the end of the day, it's my content. I'm gonna do how I want, and I'm gonna do what lets me do it in a positive way that allows me to want to do this every day. I don't want to stress about the numbers too hard. I don't want to stress about any of that stuff. We had a great start to the year, but at this rate, I'm focused on consistency. I'm focused on what makes me happy, and I'm focused on what keeps it going. So anyway, that's a long drawn out end of the video, but I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, for to drop a like, sub if you're new to on noties. If you made it to the very end of the video, put like or put watched in the comments. Show support minute all the way through the very end of the video. Anyway, that's all for the vid. Hope you all enjoyed, and stay tuned, man. I got obviously the shooting one coming next. You can go ahead and check out the defense, the finishing ones before this. But anyway, appreciate you watching. Take it easy, man. Peace.